That's the only thing. Maybe the referee looked at that and thought, well, if you're going to get a piece of the ball and there is some follow through and you catch a player, got more of a chance of getting away with that one.
The assistant referee with an arm around Nathan Ake, just to guide him back to where he should be. Well, that period of City dominance seems to have come to an end for now. Newcastle slowly growing in confidence, and as Matt was just saying, looking for that ball round the side through the middle. You can see the golden badges on their arms denoting the fact they were winners of this competition last season. Beat Liverpool in the final at Wembley. Just, two players who aren't playing tonight. Alexander Isak, history here now, of course, since joining Liverpool in the summer, and Dan Burn, who's on the sidelines at the moment with a rib problem. Pause here. Matheus Nunes knows this part of the country reasonably well. He's never played here for a club, but his stepdad is from Sunderland. That's how he has such a good grasp of English. And probably a few words from this part of the country as well. Here is Nunes. Coming crashing in there was Joelinton. And again the Brazilian. Kusanov stood in his way. O'Reilly. A wonderful, intricate play there by City.
Well, there's not many better than Phil Foden in those kind of areas, is there? Such awareness and footwork. So tough to get the ball off him.
Nunes. Really good tempo to this game. Joelinton, good awareness too. O'Reilly got there first ahead of Gordon.
Just a little bit loose from Gordon there. Really good play from Joelinton, just to use his body, then just dink it down the line.
Of course, for both of these two clubs in the Champions League as well this season. They just entered the FA Cup at the weekend. It is all about, in the first half of the season, giving yourself a platform to have success in the new year. Both have done that so far. Only one of these will go through to the final later in the spring. Always the first trophy given out. And the first European place on offer, should it be required. Murphy's making a run. And there's the ball for him. Wissa in the middle. Gordon round the back as well. It's just too short for Wissa. Hall. Oh, Hall couldn't quite get the shot away there before it was taken off his toe. Haaland. Doku.
Sooner or later, Miley's got to really step in there on Doku. That for me is an opportunity to really nail him. He has that touch. Go to ground if you need to, or step across him. Miley has to let him know that he's got the better of him physically.
Only 19, Lewis Miley. Do you think there might be a slight fear factor there, given how it's played out so far? Is that natural?
Understandable, and a difficult role for Miley tonight. Probably one of the hardest roles on the pitch, to be honest. Loads of 1v1s with a player like Doku's not easy when you're the size and stature of Miley as well, because he's a tall lad playing against a player with real low centre of gravity.
Hall. Oh, lovely. Home fans enjoying that. Free kick, and plenty asking for a yellow card for Semenyo as well. Referee Chris Kavanagh not obliging.
Seen him given though, haven't you? Cynical foul from Doc, just literally, there you go. You passed me, but I'm just going to trip you up. Ordinarily, that is a yellow card.
Well, a couple of players have got away with one so far. And already we're halfway through this first half. An eighth of the way through the tie. Hall down the side looking for Wissa. Nunes saw it coming. As did Bernardo Silva.
You just knew any kind of little bit of contact there from Gordon. He was going to go over and win the foul.
I think they're the most infuriating ones as a fan to see, aren't they? Because you know it's going to come and the player always bites. Harvey Barnes among the subs tonight for Newcastle. Scored twice against Manchester City in the last meeting between the sides. That was here in November. And there's an issue here for Nick Pope. It's like a slight knee problem. Hard to know these days when goalkeepers are genuinely injured and not because of the way you can circumnavigate the rules of the game, shall we say. But a timeout here. And it is a knee issue. Referee closely watching over things. Eddie Howe has his players in.
Referee just checking it is legit. And there is a problem. I mean, Nick Pope didn't look particularly happy, but it's given the managers an opportunity after a really good opening 24 minutes of the game just to filter in a few more messages to the players.
No stretcher required. The boot change as well for Gordon. Is his pitch taking a mould?
Well, never played in moulds, always studs. They're also heavily watered, aren't they, before the game? They're always firm now, modern pitches. You know, you walk on them, they feel firm, but they're pretty slippy on the top.
I think that's why, because sometimes you see players fall and you think, okay, you know, maybe they've taken an awkward fall in their arm, but that is quite an impact, isn't it, when you're falling onto that?
Yeah, they're so firm. You know, that is the modern day pitch for the drainage, and they're part artificial.
High towards Haaland. Here's Jacob Ramsey. Murphy. He continues to thrive in this Newcastle side. Many thought that his place might have been taken by someone bigger and sexier, but still continues to produce for Eddie Howe. Well, the game's really evened out, hasn't it? After that City spell in the first 10 or 15 minutes, it looked as though the game was going to continue in that manner, but Newcastle have made their presence felt more.
It's almost like Newcastle just allowed them to have the ball for a good 10 minutes or so, didn't really get out and lay a glove, and now they're getting much tighter in the midfield and winning these kind of balls.
Ramsey. Murphy held his line. Wissa wants it, and Wissa gets it. Another chance. And another ball over the bar, but the flag up for offside against him.
And I'd like to see him take that first time on his left foot. Similar ball from Murphy. He's put a couple of these in already. I mean, that one, I think he just about holds that offside line and then slightly in front of the ball. That's another tight call for the assistant. It's a little bit wide of the goal, in fairness to Wissa.
Well, neither side has had a shot on target yet. All three goals in the Premier League meeting in November came in the final half hour. That Newcastle's first win in 5 games against City. They did knock them out in the third round of this competition just over a couple of years ago. But much higher stakes here tonight. Botman with a really well-timed sliding challenge to win the throw off Semenyo.
Yeah, he had to get there. I think if that race had gone on a few strides further, he wouldn't have done, but just about timed it right and got the little ricochet in the tackle off of Semenyo as well.
Almost a foul throw there by Hall. Bruno Guimaraes out to Chow. You could see what he was trying to do, but too much pace on it there. Ake, Bernardo Silva. Lane, who's looked pretty unfazed by things so far. Okay, hits it against Miley. Bruno Guimaraes.
And they're playing a high-line City. Kushinov and Elaine stepping up when there's not that much pressure on the ball.
Bernardo Silva trying to thread that one through a gap that wasn't there for Haaland. And Doku gives away the free kick, and then O'Reilly the save. I get the feeling someone's probably going to pick up a yellow card sometime soon, not necessarily for the challenge that they make, but maybe taking one for the team as such.
Well, Foden thinks Guimaraes is making a lot of this. To see what kind of contact was. There wasn't too much from O'Reilly, just kind of sticks his hip into him, maybe a little bit off the forearm on the shoulder, but certainly no contact with the face. He likes to stir things up in the midfield though, doesn't he? Guimaraes likes to rattle people with various different tactics I've seen over the years.
He's been a mainstay in the Newcastle side in this competition this season, having played in every game. He'll have a starring role at the World Cup for Carlo Ancelotti's Brazil, in Canada, USA and Mexico next summer as well. Boom forward there by Hall. Even the towering Joelinton couldn't reach that. Well, what's happened there? Bit of a clash off the ball. Yeah. Joelinton and O'Reilly. Nunes getting involved as well. Has the referee seen anything in particular there? The card is out.
I had my eye on that. I saw the body language of Joelinton, and I thought whether or not he was just playing around initially, but he really got in the face of O'Reilly and didn't. You know, the ball was back with Trafford, and he was kind of like just not allowing him, trying to rough him up off the ball, and eventually O'Reilly just reacts a little bit. There's Joelinton, he's trying to stop him going to receive the ball. Really puts his hand around the back of his neck, and then the reaction from O'Reilly causes the shove and then escalates from there. I think you'd better get used to that, O'Reilly. Joelinton's that type of player. Wants to play the game right on the edge.
Referee tries to nip it in the bud. Yellow card each for Joelinton and Nico O'Reilly.
It's never good news for Joelinton that this early in the game in this kind of fixture. He's got to be really careful now. He's definitely liable to make at least another one or two significant fouls at some point.
Both teams have 5 matches between tonight and the second leg to come at the Etihad, which is on the 4th of February. So Wednesday night for the return. And they will already know by then who they're going to face in the final, whether it's Arsenal or Chelsea. And the makeup of these semi-finalists is just about the 4 best teams in the country right now. You can argue maybe over one of the places. Aston Villa, of course, have been sparkling this season, and Liverpool also among the top teams in the table, at least not there. But it is going to be a week of great games, and the final should be some clash as well, whoever gets there. Semenyo, heavy touch.
Great defensive work from Gordon, though, it really was. Getting back to help. Lewis Hall at right back, left back out. Does a great job because Semenyo's driving at Hall. He's in a little bit of trouble. The moment he comes inside, Gordon's there.
Well, Chris Kavanagh says this was a coming together, not a yellow card worthy challenge. But Bernardo Silva went to ground.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, it's not a great tackle. You could say it's just a foul. I thought the Semenyo one was far more of a cynical foul and a trip, which deserved the yellow card. I think that one you can get away with just a foul and a talking to.
There's a little bit of needle in the game at the moment. It might suit the likes of Nick Woltemade to come on off the bench and spice things up in the second half. He was one of a number of players who Eddie Howe wasn't going to field tonight because they played the extra 30 minutes of extra time against Bournemouth here on Saturday, a game that went to penalties in the end. Miley, Bruno Guimaraes, Ramsey, Doku, the Newcastle ball. We'll talk about who out of these two sides will get through to this year's final. They have met in the final of this competition before. Manchester City beat Newcastle back in 1976 thanks to goals from Peter Barnes and Dennis Tuat. Alan Gowling netted for Newcastle under Gordon Lee, a side that included the likes of Alan Kennedy and Malcolm MacDonald as well. Of course, they were winners earlier last season, but also reached the final in 2023 as well before losing to Manchester United. Paul, Bruno Guimaraes into Ramsey. They always look for that quick one for Murphy. Murphy to stand it, and stand it too close to Trafford.
We never really got that half a yard, did he? Tried to just throw Aki, but he matched him all the way, Nathan Aki. Just to back up your point, by the way, about Joelinton, he's now received more yellow cards than any other Premier League player in all competitions. Yeah, I see him a lot. That's the way he plays, but this fixture is a bit spicy. And he's now walking the tightrope, isn't he? Murphy. Trying to do a bit too much, but the chance is still there. Murphy. 9 to go in this first half. Very, very tight. Joelinton. Gordon. So much pace in these kind of areas, taken down by Nunez, and the yellow card is definitely coming out here. Well, that is better from Anthony Gordon. That's what you want to see. Him isolating Nunez, seeing the space, knocking it, running, really putting him under pressure. It's the first time he's done it in the game. And look at the end result. It's a free kick in a dangerous area and a yellow card for Nunez, who's now really got to be careful. Plenty of space down the line, and he's got the pace. Gordon gets there first, and it's a poor tackle from Nunez. A challenge out of desperation, given the situation he was in. A man who was heralded once by Pep Guardiola as one of the best players in the world in his then central midfield position, but has since gone back on that and said he doesn't have the intelligence to play in that area of the field, and is almost exclusively used now as a fullback. Not quite what Nunez signed up for. Bruno Guimaraes. Ooh, goes under the foot there of Matheus Nunes, who I guess does his job, but it could have ended worse. I mean, it was difficult to deal with for Nunez, but it was a poor free kick for me. It was an opportunity to really put it in a dangerous area, but he just miscued that a little bit for me, Guimaraes. The Newcastle players at the back of the area. Gordon sorting out his hair.
hammered in. Away by Trafford, who's not the biggest. And O'Reilly completes the clearance. Hall. Doku. Doesn't quite take that touch forward off his head. Ake comes crashing in. I wouldn't say Haaland's been a spectator in this game for Manchester City, but hasn't really had too much involvement, has he?
Not at all, but how many times have we seen that, and then he just pops up with the goal that matters.
Well, Wissa had a great chance there to play in Gordon.
Yeah, that's their best shout, Newcastle. It really is. That line from City is high, it's spread. They get anyone turned in that little number 10 position, and they're able to filter the right ball the right way in behind. I think City could be in a bit of trouble.
Hall. Again, getting a bit too confident, but he wins the free kick. Given the pace that Newcastle have in that front three, Gordon, Wissa, Murphy, why do you think City are hedging their bets and playing so high up?
Because they like to press, they like to suffocate teams, they have control of the ball a lot, so you're naturally going to be up on the halfway line because they've had controlled possession in the Newcastle half, and then it turns. And then you're stretched as well, because having the ball, you've got to make the pitch bigger, so the distances between everyone is more. You've got to be able to cope with that if you're going to play for Manchester City.
It's a poor ball forward. Straight to Trafford, who dispatches. And of course, there's one man to dispatch to if you're Manchester City. It's Jeremy Doku. Hall does really well to mop up. Miley. Blocked there by Bernardo Silva. Chow. Another sloppy pass. Foden. O'Reilly. Ake. Foden. Bernardo Silva. Matheus Nunes well advanced again. Foden. 4 minutes left of this first half. Semenyo. Kusanov. Elaine. Foden. Ake. Tries to put it in quickly. Botman once and twice. Ramsey sets Murphy away. Is he going to back himself here against Ake? Doku coming back, which is bad news. Very bad news.
Oh, that's good play from Doku. Just waited to see if Murphy would go inside. The moment he did, he just put the burners on and got his body in there. City just really wrestled back control of this game last 5 minutes, having lots of possession. I think